Good afternoon and welcome to the Using Appointment King training webinar. I'm Janice Page and I want to thank everyone for attending today. I'm going to be taking you through how to use Appointment King. Before we get started, a couple of things. Appointment King works best under Chrome, Firefox, and Safari browsers. So when you're using Appointment King, Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. You can use Internet Explorer, but sometimes you kind of see some funny little things with the boxes in Internet Explorer. So if you're experiencing that, shoot an email to us and let us know. We'll try to see what we can do on our end with Internet Explorer. Before you can start using your Appointment King account, you have to be set up by someone with manager rights to the system. So I'm hoping that everyone on the call today actually has an Appointment King account. When you go to appointmentking.com, you can put in your email address and your password, and you will access Appointment King. Want to point out that we have support up at the top. If you'll notice where it has videos, everything that I talk about today, we actually have a brief little video on that. So there's videos here. So if you have a couple of questions, you may want to refer to the videos. I'm happy if you would like to send me an email. I'm more than happy to answer any emails if you want to send me your questions. Once again, my name's Janice Page. My email address is jpage@activetracks.com. So it's jpage@activetracks.com. I'll give it to you again at the end of our webinar. So let's get started. One last thing. Hey, when you mouse over the Zoom palette, you'll see there's a place for you to send in questions while we're on this webinar. So if you have questions, please send those questions. I'll keep my eye on that for those to pop up, and I'll answer those questions as we go along. In today's webinar, we're going to cover just kind of really the very basics of how to schedule an appointment. We'll talk about how to resolve appointments, how to use the appointment, to use the calendar filters, how to manage your members' accounts. We're also going to talk about how to apply prepaid packages to a member's record, and then schedule appointments with those prepaid package. I'm going to show you the report section. We're not going to go deep into reports. If you have questions about reports, you can always email me. I'm happy to set up some one-on-one time with you. I do believe we have a webinar on reports. I can't recall when that is. But if you need some help with reports, let me know. And then we're going to finish up today. I'm going to go through the Appointment King mobile app. I'm going to connect it to my computer, and we're going to look at it through Zoom. So we'll do that at the end. So before we go in and start talking about scheduling appointments, I just want to give you a little bit of a background of your Appointment King account. So when your organization, your YMCA, set up, connected with Appointment King, they met with us and we did a manager setup with them. So they went into your system and set up everything and customized things to work the way that you work there at your location. Now, I just want to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes look, because I think if you understand how these things were set up, it makes it easy when you're going in and scheduling appointments. So the management team went in, and one of the first things they did was go in and add appointment types. These are the appointments that you're going to be scheduling appointments for your members. Now, over on the left side here, you'll see I have some orientation appointment types. I have some personal training. I have some for my group exercises, racquetball courts. I have massage appointments. Any type of appointment that you guys are going to be scheduling, your management team can go in and create an appointment type for that. I'm going to click on this orientation. I have a fitness orientation 1 here. It tells us how long that session is, so that's how long will be blocked off on the calendar. And then I really want to point out right here in the center where it says prepaid. Under prepaid, it says no. What prepaid means are prepaid packages. So if someone wants to schedule an appointment for a fitness orientation, they do not have to have a prepaid package attached to their record in order to schedule that appointment. So anyone that comes in could schedule an orientation appointment. Now I want to show you another one. I have a PT 60-minute appointment type here. And if you'll notice under prepaid, it says that it's required. Let me make this a little larger so you guys can see that. It says that it's required. What that means that is if we wanted to schedule a personal training 60-minute appointment for a member, it is required that we have a prepaid package attached to their record. Now, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, we're going to talk about prepaid packages a little bit down the road, but I kind of just want to give you a little kind of behind the scenes look here on how these appointment types are set up. Your manager, of course, will go over with you guys what appointment types are required to have packages and what are not. After they went in and created the appointment types, they went over and they selected labels. So you can take labels and you can say, we have specific staff who perform specific appointment types. Now, over on the left-hand side, once again, you'll see all these labels that I created. I have one called Fitness Orientations. And if I click on that label, it opens up. These are 3 of the appointment types. Now you saw that big long list of appointment types I have, but these are 3 of the appointment types that I have underneath this fitness orientation. And then I've attached all of the staff who can perform these 3 appointment types. So what that means is, let's say Bob, for example, if I have Bob on the calendar and I'm going in to schedule an appointment for him, because he's underneath this fitness orientation label, the only type of appointment I would be able to schedule for him is one of these fitness orientations. I wouldn't be able to schedule a massage or a swim lesson or personal training. This is all that I would be able to do. Now I'm going to walk through this. You'll see it when we go in and schedule appointments. You'll understand it a little bit better. Your manager can tell you if they have their label set up a specific way. Now, we can have one staff person under multiple labels. I couldn't say Bob does do fitness orientations, but sometimes he teaches swim lessons. So we can put him underneath a couple. Once again, if it's a little bit of questions, ask your director who set up the account. They can kind of explain how they set it up. This is customization for your individual YMCA. After they've created labels, they went in and they created prepaid packages. So your packages are already set up. You guys don't have to do anything. I'll show you how to go in and attach packages. But by the time you're ready to do that, every single thing is already set up for you. You don't have to worry about any of these things, package price, quantities, or anything. It'll already be set up for you. So that's just a little bit kind of a behind the scenes customization that takes place in your account. So you're now ready to go in and start scheduling appointments. Once again, like, your manager can tell you how you guys set up those accounts. So I'm looking here at the month of August, and you can see we have all these little yellow tabs and a couple of salmon colored tabs. These tabs represent availabilities. Availabilities are blocks of time that we have on the calendar for coaches where we can go in and schedule appointments. I don't know if you can see, but right here there's a little break. Anything at the top part of the day is before 12 noon, and anything beneath that is after 12 noon. If we see something that is a salmon color, that means that we had availabilities, but those blocks of time have been filled with appointments and we no longer have any more available time. So on the 12th, we don't have any appointments at all. On the 2nd, we have appointments before 12 o'clock, but no appointments available after 12 o'clock. To go in and see the day, I'm just simply going to click on the day. And so this is today's calendar. This little yellow block of time is the availability. So here we have Bob, Carol, and Calvin. There is a little bit of a difference here. Bob has a little black line at the top of his availability. That means this is a reoccurring availability. I am going to show you how to add availabilities. Most YMCAs have managers going in and add availabilities. Some YMCAs do allow their staff to go in and create their own availabilities. And if that's the case for you, I want you to know how to do it. So this is a reoccurring availability, and I know that because it has that little black line. Carol and Calvin's availabilities are just simply for today. And then we have these little appointments sitting on top of it. If you'll notice up above, we have a calendar filter. If I open up the calendar filter, I can show my times. I have it starting at 6 o'clock, going up until 9 p.m. If you're like, yeah, Janice, we start really early. We start at 5. Of course, you can go in and you can set up whatever time works best for you. Now, we're going to schedule an appointment. Remember, I talked about labels. Underneath labels, we can use this to filter the calendar. So I talked about Bob. Bob was underneath that orientation label. If I have if I had maybe 10 different coaches across here and I'm not sure who's doing orientations today, I can come over here to this label and I can say, you know what, show me all my fitness orientations. And whomever is doing fitness orientations would pop up on the calendar. Same thing if I said I wanted to see who's doing my personal training, just whomever is doing personal training will pop up on the calendar. So you can use these calendar filters and you can use the labels to go in and find out who's doing what type of appointment. You can also go in and say if I had 10 people here and somebody says, oh yeah, I just want to schedule an appointment with Carol, I can come over and I can just simply find Carol. So let's schedule an appointment. To schedule an appointment, I'm just going to excuse me, I'm going to click on this little green button that says add an appointment, and I'm going to choose an appointment type. Now, once again, I'm going to go back to those labels that I showed you. Remember I said Bob is under the orientation label? So we can only schedule Bob for fitness orientations. I'm not going to accidentally schedule him for a swim lesson or personal training or nutrition consulting. He is just simply going to be doing fitness orientation. So I'm going to choose the appointment type. We'll go in and choose a time. And now I'm going to put in my member's name. I'm going to search on my name. If I had several Sue Fleets that popped up, maybe I had a Sue or a Susan. If there's a couple with the same name, I can mouse over and say, hey, Sue, is your birthday on May 11th? And she said, yes, that's me. We can click on that and we can add her. Now, let me pause for just a moment and talk about integration. So we are integrated with about 99.9% of all YMCA's membership management software. So what that means is that when your organization first set up Appointment King, they set up the orientation. So whether you use Dexco, Protiviti, ThinSoft, whatever type of membership management software that you use, those files were sent over to Appointment King of all of your current members, and they sit in Appointment King's database. So when you come over here and you search on the name, you're going to be able to pull up that member. Now, the way the integration works is member comes in and they join your YMCA. Somebody in membership puts them into that membership management software. That membership management software sends that record over to Appointment King, which is what's called integration. That integration typically takes place somewhere around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So what that means is if someone joins at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, their record doesn't get sent over to Appointment King until the next morning. So if I had a member here, if Joe Fleet was sitting in front of me and he just joined and he said, yeah, I'd like to go ahead and book my orientation now. If I come in here and put in his name, it's going to tell me I can't find him because membership just now entered him. We haven't received that record yet. So I can manually add this member. If you manually add the member, you have to make sure that when you put in the date of birth, the phone number, and the email address, that it matches what you put into that membership management software. So you manually enter them and you click on Add Member. That record comes over to Appointment King overnight, and those records match, so we don't have a duplicate. So I actually want to put Sue back in here. Let's click on Sue. If you want to put any notes, you can add a note here. This note section is just for your staff. It's just for you guys inside. It does not go out to your member. And I'm going to click on Submit. Appointment King offers text messaging to your members. So if we can ask Sue if she would like to receive a text message. If she says yes, you just simply need to enter in her mobile number, and she will receive text messages about her appointments. If she says no, we can still go ahead and submit this, and she will receive an email with information on the appointment that she just scheduled. Bob, whom we just scheduled that with, will also receive either an email or a text, whatever he has chosen to do. So for you guys on the call today, know that if you would prefer to receive a text that somebody just booked an appointment for you or made a change to an appointment, maybe somebody called the front desk and had to cancel an appointment or reschedule an appointment, you can receive a text message. So if that's the case, you just need to make sure that your phone number is entered in on your staff account. So here's that appointment right here at 8 a.m. and I mouse over it and we can see those appointments details. And at the very bottom where it says notes, it says new to exercise. One of the things that's very, very important, and I'm going to mention it so many times on this call, you'll be really tired of it this webinar, you will be really tired of it by the end of the webinar, but it's important. Every appointment must be resolved. You guys have access to all kinds of reports, and everyone has access to these reports. These reports are only as good as the information that you put in. So you have to come over and to resolve an appointment. To resolve an appointment, we just simply click on that appointment. There are 4 different ways to resolve an appointment. The appointment is either completed, the member is a no-show, the member wants to reschedule, and we can reschedule directly from this window. So for example, if I needed to reschedule this appointment, we can reschedule it with someone else other than Bob. So maybe we want to reschedule with Grace because Bob's not going to be here. So you can go in and you can reschedule that appointment, or you can cancel the appointment. Now, for this example, we're actually going to reschedule. I'm going to keep it with Bob. And let's just say I want to see all of the times and dates that Bob has available between now and August 30th. And I'm going to say, oh yeah, August 9th works for us, but can we do it at 7:30? I'm going to click on this little plus sign to add it. And it tells us down below, rescheduled on Friday, August 9th. If I want to add any additional notes, I can. When I click on submit, it's going to take this appointment and it's going to move it over to Friday, August the 9th. It does, however, stay, let me make it a little larger, on this page. So here's an appointment, and then I had a cancellation, and then I had a reschedule. So this little striped box with the little calendar, that's my reschedule. If I mouse over it, you can see in the middle, my member is Sue. The very bottom 2 lines tells me the outcome is rescheduled, and it tells me when it was rescheduled for. Now, right above it is a canceled appointment. If I turn a mouse over that one, that was for Joe Gold. You can see the outcome is canceled. At 7 o'clock, we had one with Phil, and that has not been resolved yet. Now, give me 1 second because I just saw a question come up. So a question just came up. It's a really great question. The question is, are we able to set up our personal text reminders for cancellations only? That is really a good question. No one's ever asked me that before. Unfortunately, you can't pick and choose what type of notifications you would get on text. I can actually pass, I'm kind of hesitating, but kind of thinking here as I'm answering this. I can pass this on to our IT director. It is a great question. You can control emails that go out to staff as well as emails that go out to your members, but you can't on the text. So I will, I have your name. I will send you an email following up what I hear back from them. That's a really great, that's a great question. I will present that. It probably will be Monday of next week before I have a chance to have a meeting with them. So you're more than welcome. Okay, so what we did is we went in and we scheduled this appointment, and then we came in and we rescheduled the appointment. So now let's say that our member calls us, and let me get back to a normal screen here. Let's say our member calls us and says, hey, I have an appointment at some time with somebody, but I can't remember when it is. We can come over and manage that member's account by going up to members and clicking on manage members. I'm going to put in my member's name. And I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to look at her appointment history. Appointment King keeps track of all of their history, regardless of what they've been doing. Once again, this is how important it is that we go in and resolve these appointments. So when Sue calls us, we can say, hey, Sue, we see that you had an appointment on August 7th with Bob, but that was rescheduled. And the rescheduled date is for August 9th, but we're keeping you with Bob. If Sue says to me, you know what, I can't make it on August 9th, I'm going to have to cancel, I will call and reschedule later. I can come right over here from this window. I don't have to go back to my calendar. I can come over here and say, okay, she's going to cancel. Call back to reschedule. Well, you have to be able to spell correctly, but so we can go in and we've now canceled that. Sue will have received an email or text message letting her know that that appointment was canceled. So will Bob. So easy to go in and schedule an appointment. To schedule an appointment for a member, click on this little add appointment, choose your appointment type, choose your time, search on your member. If you want to add notes, you can, and then just go in and click on submit. Now, it's a little bit different when we're scheduling appointments for those members who are using prepaid packages. So if we have a person who wants to schedule, let's say, a personal training appointment. Now, I know that Carol is my personal trainer. I can come over here and say, oh, let me just find my personal trainers, but I know Carol is. So I'm going to come over. Same thing. I'm just simply going to click on the green button to add the appointment. I'm going to choose the appointment type. Now, remember, Carol is underneath that personal training label. So she only does personal training. She doesn't do any orientations. So if I come over here and I choose the appointment type, I'm going to choose a time, and I'm going to put my member's name in. What was my member's name? Here we go. And I'm going to click on my member's name. If you'll notice up at the top, it says this member does not have the required prepaid package credits for this appointment. This can mean one of two things. It can mean that we did not attach a prepaid package to the member's record before we tried to schedule the appointment. Or it could mean that Mary did have a prepaid package, but she has booked all of those sessions out on the calendar. even if she has not yet performed those sessions, they're on the calendar. She doesn't have any more. So I could sit here all day long clicking on her name. I would not be able to schedule an appointment for her. Remember when I went over and showed you those appointment types, I said orientations, it's not required for people to have packages, but when I showed you that PT 60 minutes, I have on there that it's required. So once again, if this comes up for you, you know, make sure that your wellness director or whomever is over your Appointment King account lets you know who does and does not require packages. So there's nothing I can do for this member. So I'm going to close this. Nothing I can do except go over and actually add that package to her record. So I'm going to go over here to members. We're going to go back over to manage members. Put in my member's name. And when I click on her name, here's a prepaid package tab. When I click on it, you can see there isn't any packages. So what I need to do is go over to the label. Remember I talked about those labels where we have certain staff attached to certain labels? Well, we also have labels attached to prepaid packages. So under these labels, these are the same labels, I'm going to use a personal training 60 minutes because that's what we're doing. And then underneath that label, these are all the packages that have been created. So I can schedule any of these. I'm going to actually go to a PT. Let's do a PT 10 session, 1 hour. And here you can see, here's that package. Now, I can come in. This is already created for you. However, you can come in and make some changes. So if I want to say, yeah, this was sold by someone else. But if you go in and make a change to the price, the expiration, the package type, the quantity, or the quantity warning, this will automatically become a custom package. So if you're going in and making changes to this, I would suggest to you that you come in and make a note of why you made this a custom package, why you made these changes. Interesting enough, we've had a lot of wellness directors reach out to us and say, they start running these reports and they're like, why do we have so many custom packages? Well, I can't tell you, I don't work there. So if you go in and you make a note of why you made that change, no one has to track you down to find out what was going on. So I just want to have a regular PT 10 sessions. I'm going to click on add and I'm going to say okay. Now if you'll notice it says remaining that we have 10 appointments here, and underneath my balance type, of course, it has 10 appointments. Once you add a package to a member's record, you cannot go in and delete this. So if I added this package and all of a sudden I realized I added the wrong package, or maybe this was supposed to be for her husband, Tom, I can't just delete this. Once a package is added, it's added, you can't delete it. So if you made a mistake, anyone who has manager rights, so if you don't have manager rights, you just need to go to somebody who does. Anyone who has manager rights sees this little button that says adjustments. So it's very easy for them to just go in and make that adjustment for you. So if you don't have manager rights, you'll have to have somebody go in and do it for you. So we have 10 sessions here. So now I can come back over to the scheduler. I'm going to go over to Carol, choose our appointment, put in my member's name. And now when I choose Mary, she automatically goes over. I don't get a little red message up here preventing that. And I'm going to click on submit. Once again, I did tell you I'll kind of drive you a little crazy of this. We must resolve all these appointments. It's really, really important that these appointments get resolved. To resolve an appointment, just simply, once again, click on the page. And it doesn't matter if they have prepaid packages or not. They're all the same results. Either it's completed, no-show, rescheduled, or canceled. If Mary cancels this appointment, you have the option to deduct or refund the session. So if Mary called us, 2 days ahead of time and said, you know what, I'm not going to be able to make it next Friday. I'm going to call you back to reschedule. We might want to refund that. If she calls me, 10 minutes after her appointment started and says, I'm not going to come today, I may want to deduct it. So you have that option right there. For this example, I'm actually going to say Mary completed her appointment. And Mary says to Carol, hey, I would like to get on your calendar for a couple of more sessions. So what Carol can do is she can go up here to the upper right-hand corner where it says multi-appointments. And I'm going to select my appointment type, put in Carol's name, member's name, and then I'm going to say, show me all the times that Carol has available, and I can go in and take a look, choose whatever time, and then just simply go right down the list here, and I can schedule these appointments. If there's a day, if it's like, oh, Monday doesn't work for me, we can always remove that. I'm going to go down and click on submit, and it's going to take all of those dates and put Mary on Carol's calendar. Now, after you do all this, you don't have to go back over and look at your member's record, but I want you to see how it looks so you know how to follow those sessions. So if I come back over here to members and I go to manage members, and I put in Mary's name again, this time when I come over and I click on prepaid packages, if you'll see, it tells us remaining 5 packages. And let me make this a little larger for you. Down at the bottom here, it says we have 4 scheduled. So I just put 4 scheduled out on the calendar, meaning that we have 5 more sessions to be scheduled. 4 plus 5 is 9. Everybody likes to point out to me it's not 10. Once you have resolved a session, it is deducted from this total. So if you want to see that, you can go over to that appointment history, like we did on Sue's, and here it is. I know it's hard to see because it's kind of faded out, but it says completed right here. So here are those appointments that we have on the calendar waiting to be completed, and then we have those that we can still book. Now I can update these just like when I went in and canceled Sue's. I can come right over here and I can update this. So let's say, we're going to say this is completed, and I'm going to click on submit. If I come back over here to prepaid, you'll now see I have 3 scheduled because I have 2 that are completed. So scheduling appointments using prepaid packages is really, really very easy. Really, really easy. If you have questions, type those questions into me, or send me an email later today, tomorrow, next week, next month. Just know we're here for you. Now, I want to talk about calendar filters for just a moment before I go too much further. So I already showed you how to use labels, how I could come over here and, if I'm like, who's doing tours, I can come over and I can, I didn't know we had 2 tours in here. Let's go over to this tour. If I want to know who's doing tours, I can go over and I can see who's doing tours, just like we did for orientations and training. We can look at staff. One of the things that I want everybody to know, because sometimes people kind of like to come in and play around with things, and they accidentally click on something and it looks like things disappear. First of all, let me tell you, nothing is going to disappear. And we like for you to navigate and go in and see what happens and what are the results. I can promise you, you're not going to do anything that we can't undo. So don't feel nervous at all. Just go in and play with it. Under calendar filters, you can show your outcomes and you can show your confirmations. So we've been going in and we have been resolving some of these appointments. You can see these results. So On this appointment type with the little green check mark, if you look at the bottom line, the outcome is completed. So all of these are completed appointments. This 9:30 with this little yellow triangle is a no-show. A rescheduled appointment is a striped box with the little calendar, and a striped box with an X, the outcome is a canceled. Anything that doesn't have one of those four has not been resolved yet. So I can see I have some things on here that have not been resolved. Now, sometimes this gets really crowded. I actually, on purpose, set this up so we have a 7 o'clock, and then I have these other two little rescheduled and canceled appointments on top of it, because sometimes your availabilities can get really, really busy. I can go over, this was a 8 to 9. I could go over right now and schedule another appointment 8 to 9. So it'll be a 7 to 8, another 8 to 9, and then this canceled and rescheduled all kind of together. So a lot of people like to come over and kind of clean this up. So if you come in and say, you know what, I don't really want to see those rescheduled appointments or those canceled appointments, we can come in and we can remove those. You want to make sure, like if I say, you know, which this happens, people say, well, I think I might want to just uncheck these. As I'm going through and I'm unchecking my confirmed and unconfirmed appointments, as you can see, everything kind of disappears. If I were over here and I say, hey, I wonder what Phil is doing today. Well, Phil's not even working today. If I go over to my month, he's not even on the calendar. So occasionally what happens is people come in, they navigate, they play around, and then they leave for whatever. They log back in, and this is what they see. And people call us panicking, saying, Appointment King has lost everything. I can absolutely promise you that will never happen. So all you want to do is just make sure that you go into your filters and that you're actually showing everything that you actually want to see. So any questions about the filters, any questions about scheduling appointments or adding prepaid packages? I mentioned at the beginning that some YMCAs have it set up where their staff can go in and create their own availabilities. They can come in and add their own little yellow blocks of time on the calendar. I want to show you how to do that. All you have to do, if you have those rights, you just simply come in and click on the calendar, and this create availability window pops up. We'll just choose someone here, and we can go in and put in our time. By default, these are no repeat availabilities, meaning that they are just for this day. If we wanted to repeat and have Mike come in from 4 to 8 for the next 5 days, we could repeat it daily. Or if I want to repeat this and say, yeah, I want him to come in every Wednesday from 4 to 8 until the end of September, I can go in and I can create this and make it a reoccurring availability. That's like Bob's up here. So it's on the calendar. If I can mouse over that little black, I can't get on it. That is there it is, reoccurring availability. To manage your availability, you can click on the name. You can delete this or you can edit it. So if I wanted to edit this, so let's say Mike just decided that he's going to go on vacation, and Grace has offered to step in for him. And even if he has appointments already out there on his availability, she's just going to step in and take over for him. So we can go in and change the employee. But she's like, you know what? I never stay till 8. I'll only stay until 7. Here it tells us this is from August 7th until August 25th. You have to let Appointment King know. Do you want to make this change for just this one individual incident? Do you want to start on this day moving forward, which would be all the way until September the 25th? Or do you want to edit all incidences? all incidences would also incur anything that had happened in the past had we created this availability like 2 weeks ago. So let me also tell you, if we have anything on the calendar that would be affected. So he was working until 8, and she's like, oh, I'm only going to work till 7. If there was an appointment out on the calendar next week from 7 to 8, and she's like, no, I'm not doing that, it will not let her go in and make this change until that appointment has been resolved. And by being resolved, it would either have to be canceled or rescheduled with somebody else. So we're going to say starting on the state, and I'm going to submit this. And now it's turned to Grace. If I wanted to delete it, it's kind of the same thing. If we have any appointments sitting out there, those appointments have to be resolved. We could just do this one incident, start in the state, or delete all incidences. And I don't have any appointments sitting out there, so I'm just going to delete, and it deletes everything. Now, let's talk about labels for just a moment. Remember Carol, who was underneath the personal training label. So if I come over here to schedule an appointment for her, we only can schedule personal training for her, right? We talked about that earlier. But let's say Carol comes back in the afternoon, and in the afternoon, Carol is going to do orientations for us. What we can do is we can override those labels. So if you're going in and you're adding your own availability, you can say, yeah, in the morning, if I'm Carol doing this, I'm going to say, okay, in the morning I'm doing my personal training clients. In the afternoon, I'll do some orientations for the Y. We can come over here and click on override labels. These are the labels that she's under right now as active. That's over kind of in the default section. Any changes I make here only affect this availability, none of the other availabilities, just this. So what we can say is in the afternoon, we're not going to do any personal training. In the afternoon, we're only doing fitness orientations. So we come over here. Whoops. There we go. So now, in the morning, once again, in the morning, we have her doing personal training. In the afternoon, she's only doing fitness orientations. So you can kind of control what type of appointments that you want to be doing during different parts of the day, different times of the day. So let me do a brief overview, and then what we're going to do is we're going to jump on the mobile app. Let me know. This is a great time to type in any questions that you may have. I started off kind of giving you that overview of how appointment types are created and how they're set up for your individual accounts. If you have questions about who has prepaid package requirements, just check in with your managers. They can let you know how that's set up. Then we went over and just simply did very easy scheduling a very basic appointment, and we rescheduled that appointment. Then we came over and we found that appointment by looking it up under member management, and we canceled that rescheduled appointment. So if somebody calls the front desk and says, hey, I have an appointment, don't know when it is, anybody can come over and they can look that up. Then we came over and we attached a prepaid package to a member's record and then scheduled appointments using the multi-appointment function. We went back over to members and to manage members and looked at those prepaid packages to see how those sessions were used. We talked about calendar filters. A lot of people keep them closed the whole time, which is great. It's fine, whatever works for you. Just know there's a couple of things underneath here. Some people don't want to necessarily see their times. They want to see their appointment types. So like Calvin here, he's doing tours. So if he wants to see his child tour, he can still mouse over and see that that's at 9 o'clock. This was at 11. especially if you were doing multiple things. Like, so Carol could have some 60-minute appointment of PT, some 45, some 30 minutes. So kind of take a look at those calendar filters and see what works best for you. And then we talked about going in and creating those availabilities and editing those availabilities. So let me know if you have any questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect my phone to the Zoom app, and it takes me just a second. So if you guys be really patient with me. I don't see any questions coming in. Let me just verify that. Okay, so everybody's good on questions, I'm hoping. Let me go over and get my, just takes a second. One of the things that Zoom does when I connect my phone, takes a minute, let's see. Oh, guys, hold on. I was going to say, whenever I try to do this, it starts opening up all the apps on my phone. Right now, Zoom is not recognizing my phone, so give me 1 second. Oh, great. There we go. Okay, so now it's opening my apps, but okay, so here's my phone. The Appointment King mobile app is found in the Apple Store for iPhones. It's in the Google Play Store for Androids. I have an iPhone. It basically looks the very same. There might be just a slight bit of difference between the two. To be quite honest, I haven't ever used it on an Android. What you see here is the calendar. Now, when you go and download the Appointment King mobile app and you log in using your email address and your Appointment King password, you log into your account. What that means is you can only see your appointments. You can't see anyone else's appointments. I'm actually logged in right now as Bob Brewer. That's who was over here doing all these fitness orientations. So I'm logged in as him. We're looking at his calendar. What you see, and I can't make it any larger, guys. I'm sorry. I hope you can see it okay. You can see these little dots. These represent available times. Like this, on August 2nd, we have one red dot. That means he doesn't have any availabilities. He did, but he has that filled with appointments. Any green dots, we see that means that we do have availabilities and no appointments. Where we see 2 brown dots, it means that we have appointments and availabilities. So I have them in the morning and the afternoon. That's why there's 2 dots. So what I'm going to do, I can't really use this my cursor. I'm going to hold my phone and I'm just going to slide this up so we can take a look at today. So here are all of these appointments that we have. You can schedule your appointments directly from your mobile app. You can go in and resolve these appointments directly from your mobile app. So Bob has an availability on the calendar today to work from 7 a.m. until 4 p.m. You can see here that he has a 7 o'clock appointment with Phil. His 9:30, it has that little calendar with a question mark because that was our no-show. None of these have been, so the 7 o'clock and the 11th and 2 have not been resolved yet. If I scroll up a little further down towards the bottom, you can see that canceled and rescheduled appointments. There is an appointment there that was canceled. Oh, I need to let me refresh my screen. I'm sorry. I had logged in. There we go. Okay, because I was like, where's Sue? I had to refresh my screen. So there's Sue down there. She was that rescheduled appointment. There's Joe. That's a canceled appointment. Now, if you notice down below Sue, it says add new appointment. That is if I'm adding an appointment outside of my available time. Bob's available time is from 7 to 4, but if he wanted to schedule something at 5 o'clock, His managers have given him the rights to do that, so he can go in and he could schedule an appointment outside that time. What we're going to do is resolve an appointment first. I'm going to choose my 11 o'clock, which is Frank Little. It's a strength evaluation. I'm just simply going to click on that tile, or touch that tile. If you notice on the upper right-hand corner where it says edit, right underneath it tells me it's unresolved. Now, remember how I told you we could go in and look at the history for our members? I can see Frank's history here as well. So to see Frank's history, I'm just simply going to touch his name, and it gives me his history. Now, to be quite honest, I use Frank all the time, so he has a long history. I do that so you can kind of see, we can keep up with everything that Frank has been doing. So I can see all these appointments that he has completed. With the little check marks. I can see appointments that he has rescheduled with that little clock on there. I can kind of scroll down. I can see all the appointments, everything that he's done. He did a CrossFit training, all kinds of things. I'm going to go over and click on back, and I'm actually going to resolve this appointment. To resolve the appointment, I'm going to click on edit. And if you'll notice kind of there on the right-hand side where it says select result, I'm going to touch that. And here are those 4 results. If I wanted to reschedule, I can reschedule directly from this app. I'm actually going to say this is completed. I'm going to click on save. And what I did is I saved this result. So if you notice now the result says that this appointment was completed. I actually want to save the edit of that appointment, so I'm clicking save again, and then it takes me back. And now if I take a look at Frank, he has a little calendar with a check mark, so I know that this appointment was completed. To go in and add an appointment, to schedule an appointment, just simply click on add new. And I'm going to select an appointment type. Now remember, he's under that orientation label, so he's doing orientations. I'm going to choose an orientation. I'm going to select a time. And then I'm going to click on this little icon for my member. And I'm going to search on my member's name. And let me type him in. If I have multiple jackpotters, they'll all kind of show up here, and it has the date of birth. So I can ask Jack, is if his birthday is February 16th. If we didn't have his date of birth for whatever reason, the next identifier would be his phone number. If for some reason we don't have his phone number, his next identifier would be his email address. If we need it, if Jack says, that's not me, we can go in and create a new member right here. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to click on save. And if you'll notice at the upper right-hand corner, it now tells us to create. Whoops, did I not add him? Let me do that again, sorry. Just do it really quickly. Oh, I didn't choose him, sorry. So I have to actually touch him. I didn't choose him. I just kind of, so now I've chosen him. That moved him up. And now we'll click on save and click on create. And now he's been added to my system. So now we see him. I'm going to go over to the list up at the very top and check on list. This has a list of all of my appointments that we have coming up. I want to see all of the appointments that Bob had in July. I can go over to July, and it has a list of all the appointments that he had in July. If I go over and click on day, I can actually see the day. Now, I want to point out, because sometimes people ask questions, if they look at this, and I don't think they read, because they look at this and like, oh, I don't have anything going on today. Excuse me. So if you get up in the morning, you go in and you're looking at your day and you're like, oh, I don't have any appointments. Please note on the left side that it starts at midnight. So this actually starts at 12 a.m., but it tells us our availabilities begin at 7 o'clock and our first appointment is at 7. So if I scroll down, now I can start seeing all those appointments. So the mobile app is available from the Apple Store for your iPhones, from the Google Play Store for your Androids. You can go in and you can resolve all your appointments. It makes it really easy to go in and resolve those appointments. You can go in and schedule your appointments. You can go in and you can look at your members' history. So does anyone have any questions about the mobile app? I'm gonna hop back really quickly. Here we go. There we go. I'm going to hop back to my screen really quickly because there's one other thing I want to show you. Once again, I know I'm going to end it with just that, resolving appointments. It is very important that you resolve all the appointments. We make it easy for you. I did show you where you could come right down here and click on the appointment itself and choose a result, how you can resolve those appointments on your mobile app. You can also go over to your My Account, and if I go over to My Home, it has all of your appointments that are on the calendar for today, your future appointments, but more importantly, it has these unresolved appointments. We can come directly over here and we can resolve these appointments directly from the screen. You would have a whole list of all of these appointments. There's another place that you can resolve those appointments from the scheduler page. If you look over on the left-hand side where it says appointments, I can say, I want to see all my unresolved appointments. And, well, I didn't choose an employee, but you could choose your own name. But it would give a list of all of those unresolved appointments. We can come right over here and we can update, and we can just simply go down that list and you can go in and resolve those appointments. It's really, really important. You can run all of these different reports, but once again, those reports are only going to be as accurate as the information that has been entered into them. So if you have questions, please send those questions in really quickly. I want to thank everybody for attending the training today. I know you guys are super busy, and for you to take time to attend the training, I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Linda. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. If you have suggestions, if there's something that you would like to see, let us know. I'm always happy to share this with our IT director and our CEO, and I have meetings with them several times a month, and we kind of discuss customer feedback. So let us know what changes you'd like to see. We're always happy to help you. Once again, my name's Janice Page. My email address is jpage@ActiveTrax, and it's activtrax.com. I don't see any other questions coming in. I want to thank everybody for attending, and let me hear from you. Thanks again. Bye-bye.